Hello and welcome back to Framingham Now. I'm Jack Patrick Lewis, State Representative for the 7th Middlesex District, and today we're continuing our conversation with the candidates running for the District 6 City Council seat. We just heard from Mike Rossi, and now we're continuing the conversation with Phil Ottaviani. Phil, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jack. I look forward to it.
The election's just around the corner.
Yep.
We have about 10, 12 minutes together today. You're somebody that has been involved in this town for years.
Yep.
Folks have got to know you. There might be a couple people just tuning in that haven't met you yet.
Yep.
So for those folks, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running.
Yep. I'm a lifelong resident of District 6. Been a town meeting member for 25 years in Precinct 11. I've been on the Zoning Board of Appeals for almost 20 years. I've chaired it for 19 years. My daughter's a 5th generation Framingham resident. We love Framingham. We had a family business here for 65 years. I chose to raise my family here. We love the diversity. And I truly believe that the city council race and seat was a way of giving back and continuing my service to the town of Framingham.
Excellent.
And I thought it was time for a change. I've been on the zoning board a long time and looking forward to something new and exciting.
And if you're elected, what are some of the things you hope to work on?
We need to run Framingham a little bit more like a business. We need to, look at the budgets, town side, school side, find some waste that's in there, put that money back into our infrastructure. I'm not talking about taking the money out. We need to keep the money in, as we've seen. Taxes have gone up significantly. We're out taxing our seniors. Our water and sewer bills have gone up over 10%, over 100% in 10 years. We need to control our spending. We need to keep our police and fire top notch. In the school system, I have a 12-year-old. I have a little girl that's in the 7th grade at Walsh, and we need to ensure that they have a great education. And with education, property values continue to stay high, and people want to choose and come to Framingham. And we need to keep Framingham attractive for those folks.
And I know you're out knocking on doors, having these conversations. Are these the same issues you're hearing about from folks?
Yeah, we are. I am. The taxes are being high, water and sewer rates excessive. And when it comes to the schools, there's concern about the level 3, the schools, the elementary schools that are on the south side that are having some challenges. And more importantly, they were upset about what happened with our former school superintendent. We paid a school superintendent $250,000 to stay home for a year, and it might have even been more than a year. In my business in real estate, if you don't renew your license, you don't have your certification or your license, you can't sell real estate. So I don't know how it's much different for a school superintendent, but we have a great new school superintendent, Dr. Tremblay. I was a fan of his when he interviewed the first time. He was the runner-up for the job. I think we're lucky. He is truly a gentleman that wants to be in Framingham. He's excited. He spent a week at every school. He talked at one town meeting, 15 minutes. He had just gotten the job. He engaged with us, and it was more than Stacey Scott had ever spoken to us. So it's a breath of fresh air for the schools, and I think he can take us to the next level.
And he's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Preschool drop-off line at Blocks Preschool a couple of weeks back. There he was.
You're with the schools too. You're with the kids in the school system, like my daughter.
Second grader at Barberry. He came home from school maybe a couple of weeks ago saying, the new superintendent visited my class and they ate lunch with us, I think. And I was just floored that my 8-year-old knew what the superintendent was and had met him. And I know it's one of his goals to really have that relationship. I also represent Ashland, as you know, and I toured all the Ashland public schools last week with the Ashland superintendent.
Wow, awesome.
The number of kids who came up knew him by name. He knew them by name. I know that here in Framingham we need that as well, and I know we have the superintendent who's going to build the relationship not only with the town leaders, but also the students and teachers. And I hope what we can do is bring what Ashland's been able to enjoy to Framingham, and I think we gotta keep him here. And
no question about it. That's what we need to do, and keep him here. And he's excited about it. He's thrilled to be here, and he wants to reach out, and he's so accessible and engaging. And it's like what we talk about, being active and engaged. I've been giving back in the community for 30 years. Our new superintendent wants to be engaged with the students. He's going to them instead of people having to go to him, which is truly a great step in the right direction.
I'll need to have him on the show, but we'll pivot back to your race and not talk about him the entire 10, 12 minutes. One of the things I'm most excited about, and I know you've alluded to it as well, is the new form of city government will mean that we have a mayor, which will be setting the course for the whole city. We'll have 2 at-large folks that will be working for all of Framingham. But every district, every neighborhood will have one person. One person that lives not far from everyone who lives in that district, who will be advocating for the unique needs of their part of town. That's not something that especially the folks on the south side have always been able to enjoy with the Board of Selectmen, the school committee, having great folks, but great folks who live in one part of town. So I'm curious what you feel are the unique needs of precincts 10 and 11, the newly formed District 6, that you hope to work on, not only as you craft with others Framingham's future as a whole, but as these parts of town look to you to be their advocate.
Yeah, our district is pretty unique. Our district offers a lot to everybody. We're a Southside district, but with Precinct 10 now, we cross Route 9. We have all the apartments on one side, and then we have that neighborhood. And it's unique because, like Westgate, I have half the street. So when I was door knocking, I had to take a look at the list because I have the odds. I have the left side of the street, not the right side of the street. So it gets a little confusing. But our precinct, we have the Stop and Shop Plaza. We have walking trails. We have Maycomber Conservation Land. We have Cushing Park, which is one of my favorite gems of Framingham. We go there. My daughter can't ride her bike on Salem End Road. We put the bike on the back of the Suburban. We go to Cushing Park. She rides. My wife and I walk. My district has been very lucky. It needs to be more walkable, a little more accessible in that sense, and more friendly for pedestrians. Apartment sprawl is a problem. I've seen it on the zoning board, and we've been criticized a little bit about apartments. However, they belong in different parts of town, in different areas, but every site is different. We approved something on Route 9 at the old snow dump. It was a great facility for them. The town meeting actually approved the 2 downtown Framingham with the rezoning, not the Zoning Board of Appeals. But until we put bodies in downtown, there's not going to be any redevelopment or what we need in downtown. Mount Wade is on the outskirts of my district. I thought that was a good project. I voted for it. The neighbors, I listened to the town meeting members that lived directly across the street and that came, that supported it, and that wanted it. Not people that lived on the other side of Route 9 that didn't like it. You know, from Dave Hutchinson to Mr. Laquadero, Cheryl Gordon came, Bill Lynch came, different people that it touched, and Alma and Dave Hutchinson who live right there. These people have been waiting decades to have this plaza revitalized, and those are the people I was listening to that night. We did it for the town as a whole, but the people that have to look at it every day, Gia Betty came and spoke, a lot of people came. Now fast forward to the Staples development, which we won't get into too much because it's in front of us now, but it's a commercial piece of property. It's taxed at $39 a thousand, not $18. To take a piece of property off the tax rolls and make it residential, you need to give some real good reasons why somebody would want to do that, especially with Mass Bike access, Route 9 access, and the apartment sprawl actually then contributes to more kids in the school system. So Precinct 10 has some concerns about that. Precinct 11 has some concerns about that. We have some concerns in our neighborhood, people in 11, the expansion of the nursing home on Route 9, on Winter Street, Carlisle House. They bought the big old home next door to them to do maybe a memory care facility, but then there's talks that they might want to demolish it. And the neighbors on Long Ave have concerns about that. So my phone's been ringing, and I'm accessible. That's the one thing about me. My phone number's out there, my email's out there. I'm all new to the Facebook age, but I'm doing what I need to do so people see the relevancy and know that I'm active in that. But my phone number's out there. People can call me. I get calls. I return my calls. And as important as the town government service, 30 years volunteering on different boards. And I don't know if we're going to get to some of that or not, but hoops and homework.
Yeah, tell us about those.
The hoops and homework is near and dear to my heart. Herb Chasen was struggling with it. He came to me. I got involved with him and a great group of folks. We went out and raised him money. We continue to raise him money. I was vice president of the board. I've gone to just being on the board now because I've got a lot of other things going on, but I'm one of his biggest cheerleaders. The 200 Foundation, I've been going to those dinners since I was 16 years old. I'm 53. This year we'll raise about 150 or 200,000. Nobody's paid. We pay for our own meals when we go out for dinner, and we give all that money back to the most needy. Food, clothing, shelter, mental health, needs, whatever's out there, addiction, and we give that money back. We vet the organizations, scholarships at St. Bridget's for kids that don't have the money to go. Very engaged in that and love that. Just recently got on the board of trustees at Marion High School, my alma mater. Thrilled about that.
I think I witnessed that conversation between you and the principal.
You
there
did actually, right?
Ago.
You saw us having breakfast, And I'm on the Framingham Rotary. I am very engaged in our community, and I'm a well-rounded candidate, and that's what I think makes me uniquely qualified. I'm out in the community. I'm not a one-issue candidate. I'm all about the whole district and the whole town, and I've proven it, I believe, over the last 30 years of service.
And as you're talking, I keep having to remind myself that your district, if you're the representative, actually stretches out west, way beyond, we think of Salem End Road and that part that then goes south and sort of Keefe Tech, but but it's a much larger district than I think.
It is. And when you put the two together, because when they did the charter, I guess the districts had to touch. So they put the 10 and the 11 together. And, down Fountain Street, almost down to the Ashland line, loop back up Jody Road, all those neighborhoods over there, all the neighborhoods off Singletary Lane, feed up to Salem End Road, back to Winter Street, all the neighborhoods off Salem End Road, Singletary, up to the Ashland border again, all the streets that come down. It's been an interesting election, and met a lot of great people, answered a lot of tough questions. Some people were more concerned about the mayor's race, and I said, I'm here to talk about my race. I said, I'm running for city council in our district. And when they see what you've done, and you talk about being a town meeting member, zoning board I've missed in 19 years, one meeting. It was my honeymoon when I got married, 13 odd years ago. That was the only time. I'm accountable. I accept responsibility for what I do, and I'll stand up, and people can hold me accountable for everything I do.
Well, Phil, I am so grateful that you come on the show, that you're running for your years of service to the town. Our time always goes by faster than we'd want it to. In closing, I'm curious about a question I ask everyone. What is it about Framingham? What is it about this town that you have chosen to stay here your entire life, to raise your family? You said your daughter's 5th generation Framingham resident. I have to think that you running not only says something about you and the other folks running, but it also says something about the town that you're willing to put yourself out in this way. So in the last 30 seconds or minute that we have together, what is it?
I love Framingham. I grew up here. I watched our family business flourish. My mother's family owned a tobacco store. She was a Garbarino. That's how they met on Waverly Street. That's how my parents met, and it was a true love story. And I love Framingham. I've watched it thrive. I've watched the different factors come and go. And when it came time, there was never a blink of where I wanted to live. I wanted to live in Framingham. It's very similar when I wanted to go to college. I knew I wanted to go to Boston College as a little boy, and I didn't get in early decision, but I kept my fingers crossed, and I ended up getting in, and that's where I went. And I never thought of moving elsewhere. People thought I was crazy building our new home in Framingham. Oh, you should go elsewhere. The diversity. My daughter's in the Framingham Public Schools, and she loves it, okay? She was at St. Bridget's before, and Framingham's a welcoming community. She has great friends. We have great people through our parish, through St. Bridget's, through the soccer groups. You meet great people, and it's truly what Framingham says about everybody, and it's appropriate we're here today, which you probably won't hear today, but Devon, why not Devon? I got involved in that. I supported that a couple different ways through my business, and Framingham really came together when we were supposed to come together. And we have a lot of great people. And we have a lot of great people on different sides of this election. But to see everybody come together for that cause, for that little boy and that family, it said a lot about who we all are. And that's why I'm in Framingham. And I want to spend the rest of my life in Framingham.
Excellent. Well, I'm so grateful that you're running. You took the time to come on the show. For those watching at home, if you live in the newly formed District 6, which includes the precincts 10 and 11, your candidate options for the district-specific city council position is Mike and Phil. We've heard from both of them now. Reminding you to vote November 7th. When you get your ballot, you're going to have a couple options. For mayor, you have the 2 finalists. You're going to have an option for 4 of the at-large candidates. You're going to help narrow it down to 2 at-large city councilors. And then you're going to be able to choose between Phil and Mike to represent you on the newly formed city council. And then you'll have a choice for school committee as well. Please continue to research the candidates. If they haven't knocked on your door yet, look out the window because they're probably on their way. I continue to wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Until next time.